right now on ABC 10 News at 11. San Diego State going back to virtual learning after a surge of COVID-19 cases across the county, and the plan to stop the spread after the Thanksgiving holiday.
San Diego Unified revealing a new plan to benefit schools nationwide.
It calls for $350 billion in direct relief to schools to offset lost state revenues and increased operating costs.
The plan heading to President-elect Biden's desk as teachers in San Diego County fight to go back to virtual.
Arrested for violent crimes, some San Diego residents are being handed over to ICE. A loophole critics say is being used to avoid public attention. Plus,
murders, mysterious deaths, and cults.
You know, what I saw in the house was disturbing. The house was demolished.
Decades later, infamous San Diego homes still haunted by their past.
ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
Tonight, it's out of the classroom and back to virtual learning for San Diego State. The shift will happen by Thanksgiving, but professors are being encouraged to begin online learning by this Friday. The news comes as the county continues to see a dramatic spike in COVID cases. So far, SDSU has recorded 1,433 cases. A battle continues to brew over whether schools should be open. A group of California teachers is calling for a statewide shutdown as most counties are now in the purple tier and COVID-19 cases continue to surge. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
and I'm Steve Atkinson. Our ABC 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala tells us San Diego Unified claims it has a plan that could benefit schools nationwide.
We need to get these numbers down.
The California Federation of Teachers is urging school districts across the state to roll back reopenings. CFT President Jeff Freitas says with the majority of the state back in the purple tier, it only makes sense until we see a slow in the spread of COVID-19.
We think the best thing right now is for schools to stop their plans of reopening and or if they are reopened to close their schools and go back to remote.
In the Vista Unified School District, Rancho Buena Vista High, Vista Magnet Middle, and Madison Middle Schools all returned to distance learning Tuesday after positive COVID-19 cases were reported. It's a back and forth the district has been dealing with since reopening last month.
There should be more of a statewide approach and definitely a national approach. We've been asking that they take a lead in this.
San Diego Unified thinks it has an answer. In its State of the District meeting Tuesday evening, Superintendent Cindy Martin announced the district has come up with its own federal relief plan to get all schools nationwide back on track for the next 2 years. The plan asks for a federal investment in education that would be centered around equity and undoing learning loss.
What would the San Diego strategy look like at the national level? We have outlined that plan, shared it with the incoming Biden administration.
It includes a COVID-19 testing, tracking, and tracing strategy for students and staff, and $350 billion in direct relief to schools, which Martin says would offset the lost revenue and increased operating costs.
We call for full funding for the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA, and full funding for the Impact Aid program to invest in our military families. We call for tripling Title I funding and making the fund permanent to support low-income families.
I know that San Diegans will step up and do whatever it takes to ensure that our students are not left behind.
The plan has been sent to the Biden transition team for consideration. Mimi Alcala, ABC 10 News.
LA County is expected to be under a new business curfew this weekend. County officials say that non-essential businesses must close at 10 p.m. Under these new restrictions, gatherings will be limited to 15 people and no more than 3 households. Restaurants with outdoor service will be limited to 50% capacity outside. Any personal care services that require removing face coverings will not be allowed. Those new rules are expected to begin Friday.
California is now requiring everyone over the age of 2 to wear a facial covering outside their home. You can only take it off if you're outdoors and over 6 feet from anyone not in your household. You also don't have to wear it in the car or when eating or drinking, as long as your party is 6 feet from others. You can also take it off when working in an office or a room alone.
And our daily case numbers are slightly down from yesterday, but they are still sky high at 718, bringing our total to more than 66,000. The county also announced 7 new deaths today, bringing that total to 933. More help is on the way for San Diegans struggling financially because of the pandemic. Today, county supervisors approved an additional $2 million for an income replacement program. It allows San Diegans who test positive for COVID to stay home. Each recipient gets a one-time payment of $1,000. The supervisors approved an initial $2 million for that program back in August. And President-elect Joe Biden continued building his team, tapping key senior White House staffers and held briefings on national security. As ABC's Alex Perche reports, Biden did it without the classified intelligence normally given to the president-elect.
President-elect Joe Biden today briefed on national security issues by outside advisors.
You know that I've been unable to get the briefings that ordinarily would have come by now.
That's because the Trump administration is denying him access to classified government intel. The president is also blocking Biden's team from briefings on the pandemic, a move that Biden warned could cost more lives and delay the distribution of a COVID-19 vaccine. It's also frustrating for Dr. Anthony Fauci, who's eager to bring the Biden team up to speed on the pandemic. Fauci telling CNN,
"It's important in every level to have a smooth transition."
But President Trump refuses to concede. Instead, he's waging unsuccessful legal battles over the election. Today, another one in Pennsylvania. And in Georgia, where the manual audit is underway, the Republican Secretary of State says he's getting death threats after coming under attack from Trump and his allies.
Well, it's surprising it's some of the vitriol and outright lies, and then, some of the threats that you get.
And tonight, the president firing Christopher Krebs, the director of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, the federal agency that has vouched for the reliability of the 2020 election. In a tweet, Krebs responding, "Honored to serve, we did it right." Meanwhile, just over a week after the president fired Defense Secretary Mark Esper, who warned the White House of the dangers of a rapid withdrawal from Afghanistan, Trump's new defense secretary made it official.
By January 15th, 2021, our forces, their size in Afghanistan, will be 2,500 troops. Our force size in Iraq will also be 2,500 by that same date.
That will mean 2,000 fewer troops in Afghanistan, 500 fewer in Iraq, a far more rapid withdrawal than anyone planned. But within hours of that announcement, rockets were launched near the U.S. Embassy in Iraq, reportedly killing a child. Alex Perche, ABC News, Washington.